Hey there, it's Allyson from OnlineTeacherAllyson.com, where stay-at-home moms learn how to teach online so they can earn an income from home with their kiddos in tow. So today we're getting into my most commonly asked question, and that is, how much money can I actually make doing that thing? Because Allyson, it sounds great in theory, but how do I apply it? How does it apply to my finances, and how will I see a difference? And so today I'm going to take you through my first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months of paychecks. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I made and how I got there. So this platform I'm looking at is from VIP Kid. And I've said it in previous videos, but I want to say it again. VIP Kid is not what it used to be. They used to be based out of China with mostly Chinese students, but the Chinese government passed a law saying that they couldn't be taught by foreign teachers, us, right? So VIP Kid has moved their headquarters. They've moved their clientele to other countries. They're now global, but they're having trouble finding their footing. So while these are my numbers, they're my numbers from nearly 3 years ago. And your numbers probably won't look like this on VIP Kid. With that being said, there are other platforms that are thriving much more than VIP Kid is, where you can spend your time and your efforts. And stick around until the end, because I'm going to give you a link that'll help match you to a platform so that you're not getting started kind of fishing through all of them, which is what I did. I have been on several different platforms trying to find a good fit, and VIP Kid was it for me. But I realize it's probably not it for you at this point. So I've got a 1-page download, completely free. It'll take 2 minutes of your time, and it'll help you find that match. So stick around to the end, and I'll give you the link. So first things first, on VIP Kid, when you first get started, they kind of promote you on the platform. So you're listed at the top of all of the teachers for 2 weeks. And the idea is, as a new teacher, you take advantage of those 2 weeks and you teach as many slots as possible before you just get bumped down into the normal algorithm with the rest of the teachers. So my first month in VIP Kid, I made $153, which when you think about it, it's not bad. The startup fees for me were nothing, which for you, they will probably be nothing too. You probably already have the computer and the space for it, right? Actually, my startup fees, it was this. I'm still teaching with the same background. It's about, I don't know, $20 max. There was a really old one I used. I was at my parents' house at the time. I'll show you that one day in a throwback. So $153 was my take-home pay, and I was pretty darn happy with that, because VIP Kid was a very competitive marketplace. They have tens of thousands of teachers, and I was just excited to be getting noticed in my first month. And I did actually have a regular from them. A regular, if you don't know, is a student that comes back to you over and over and over again for more classes. So that was November of 2019. So move forward to December, I made $231. So I was going up, and I was very excited about that. And this was December, it was Christmas. So I missed a couple classes, big no-no. And I think I canceled one because we ended up traveling different days than I originally thought we would, or I didn't plan ahead well enough, one of the two. But looking at my pay stub from December 2019, I noticed that I missed a few classes and there was a cancellation in there. So after those classes and those cancellations, in January of 2020, I made $17. That's 2 classes I taught all month. So notice how when I was working hard and I was grinding, it was going pretty well for me, right? I was starting to pick up. But then I shot myself in the foot, which is a video for another time, and I made $17. So the algorithm flagged me, right? It was like, hey, she's not showing up to classes. Let's not show her to the parents. So that's my own fault. Don't make the same mistakes I did. So I learned from that. February of 2020. Remember, these students are based in China, and the coronavirus, COVID, hit China before it hit us. So in China, it was in full force in February. It's their Chinese New Year, I remember, and they could not celebrate as normal. And the platform was like booming with classes. So I took advantage. I spent some all-nighters, and I taught. And I taught and I taught, and I napped in between. And my sweet, sweet husband, I downloaded the app on his phone so that if I had a short notice booking, a booking that could come in up to 1 hour before it was scheduled, he would wake me up because he was awake nights at that point. So February 2020, I made $522. I was ecstatic. It covered my student loan and extras. And I was seeing some regulars. I had this sweet girl. Her name was Daisy, her American name. And I saw her multiple times a week. And then I had these brothers. They lived in Hong Kong. I was seeing them multiple times a week too. And I was just so excited to be doing what I had been working so hard to do and actually making an income off of this. So coming into March 2022, COVID's starting to become a thing over in America and schools are closing down. And so the platform got bogged down with teachers because classroom teachers who usually only open slots on the weekends or holidays or summer were now able to open up slots all the time. And they had an established group of regulars that I was still working to build. And I lost a little money. I made $405, which still wasn't bad. It still covered my student loans and it was still extra, but I wanted more. I was hungry for more. So kept working. I didn't pull any more all-nighters, but I was really showing these regular kiddos and families that I am here for you. I care about you. I left them detailed, valuable feedback. I gave my all to every single class, even though it was like 5 o'clock in the morning and I was tired. I worked and I proved myself, and I was proving myself as a worthy teacher, as someone they should be spending roughly $20 a class on for 25 minutes of instruction. So November, December, January, February, March, April of 2022, I made $492. Not bad. I wasn't quite up to my 522 yet, but I was still pretty happy with that because I increased. And then May, $572. June, $1,098. June of 2020, I hit $1,000. That was my goal. I wanted $1,000 a month. I came from a teacher salary where working full-time as a teacher, you make a couple thousand a month. But I didn't want that. Remember, I decided to teach from home because I had my son and I didn't want to leave him. So $1,000 for me was a great goal because it was enough for my student loans. And then we were putting chunks on a credit card bill, like giant chunks, $700, $800, depending on the month and what we had saved and what our other expenses were. And then July of 2020, I hit my best month I ever hit with VIP Kid, and that was $1,513 in a month. I remember being very tired because I was working extra classes. I think I was working mornings and evenings as I could in the evenings. And so I made my best money yet, but I recognized that I was too tired. And so I closed off some slots and I decided, you know what, this is not going to work long term. And I wasn't the mom I wanted to be. I was very tired when my son was awake. I would just sit on the couch. I might fall asleep. We didn't do anything fun because I was so tired. So I shut down my nighttime classes because that's not where the greatest demand was. They were in China, remember? And I just opened up the morning slots. And I got booked. 90 to 100% of the time, all my classes were booked. And so after that, I averaged about $1,100 a month, which I was very happy with. It was perfect for our family, and doing it for several years, we managed to pay off a rather large credit card bill. And now I'm working to pay off my student loans and our car payment. So that is the honest nitty-gritty of what you can make teaching as an online ESL or online teacher. I now work for other platforms where the hours are different. They are more centered in like the American time zones. And so I can't work the early mornings that I used to. So my hours are limited. Now I'm only working when my son is at preschool. So I'm only bringing in about $500 a month, which is, it's kind of a bummer in the sense that I liked $1,000, but it is still enough. And I'm also making more hourly than I was at VIP Kid because the platforms I found after my experience teaching online and my degree in education, it's allowed me to find platforms that look specifically for certified teachers, and they pay a little better. Where VIP Kid, they require a degree, but it doesn't have to be in teaching. It can be a degree in anything. And then there's other platforms like Cambly where you don't even need a degree, And the experience they ask for, you could claim the experience raising your child. So you're settled. So all that to be said, how did I get there? Well, I worked overnights. I know you're probably thinking, Allyson, I don't want to work overnights. I want to be home with my son, my daughter, my kiddos. Yes, I get it. I did too. Remember, I only worked like 3, maybe 4. I really think it was 3 overnights to get to my $1,500 month. Sometimes, I know it sucks, but sometimes sacrifices need to be made at the very beginning in order to reap the benefits later. So in my case, the sacrifices were the early mornings to reap the benefits of $1,500. And after that, once I got students, I proved myself worthy of being their teacher. I planned lessons. I bought props and toys and rewards to help make those lessons better. I expanded on what they had. I brought my own knowledge and I kind of pulled in what I knew they wanted. And I talked to parents like they're a team, because we are. And I learned what they wanted me to teach their kid. And they learned who I am and how I teach and kind of the expectations. And they were always really happy with the feedback that I left. So once you get those students, prove yourself worthy. That is the best advice I have, because you are worthy. You know what you're teaching, whether it is a lesson you've created yourself or a lesson that is provided for you. You know that content. Otherwise, you would not have been hired. Your lesson would not have been improved. You know it. You are an expert in this for a reason. You are worthy. Make sure the parents and the kids and the families and the guardians know that you are worthy. So I promised you that I had a link for the platform at the end. There's tons of platforms out there. Whether you want to work on a platform or not, whether you want to lesson plan on your own or have them for you, whether you want children or adults, and the times you want to teach, I've got it listed for you. It's just one of those flow charts, those yes or no questions, right? It's one page. It's going to take 2 minutes of your time, and it's going to give you a starting point. And that is onlineteacherallyson.com/platform. It's completely free. 1 minute, 2 minutes of your time, one page. And you should have somewhere to start applying today. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you have somewhere to get started, and I hope it's inspired you, because I really wish I saw this when I was getting started, because I remember being pretty dang defeated when I made $17, and I had to pick myself up and dust myself off. So let this be inspiration for you, and I will see you next week. Chat soon.